my journey at school was probably not perfect at all. Like really, I struggled quite a bit at school because I have dyslexia. So like I was diagnosed quite early, but my school wasn't able to really support me. She gave it to me in the check, and I sort of like I sat there and I went, I obviously did something at school. I felt like I went through school doing nothing. The NC had been really inspiring and helped me to sort of see where I want to kind of go and sort of continue to pursue that kind of career. Most recently, obviously, Viking Wind Farm. Like, I mean, I'm a small part in that, but I worked on that project for over 2 years. You know, when you look at qualifications, that could be the twist your arm in a way.
Exactly.
You know, like to pick that person, they're more passionate about the role. They'll come in, give it the 110%, and it's environmentally or like in their life somehow, and that kind of drive is what kind of keeps me sort of centered in a way.
Neil, welcome to the Engineer Career Podcast.
Thanks, Josh. It feels like I've been following your journey from the start, and I'm here now talking to you about it, like talking to you about my journey, I guess.
This is awesome.
It's cool.
This is what it's all about. Yeah. It's it's as you kind of, I guess, try to expand. I'm wanting to talk about everyone about their careers, and I've known you since we worked together.
Yeah.
But your own career journey is powerful, unique, and it's relatable to a lot of people. So I'm really excited for you to share it.
Yeah, I think I said to you, like, when you're young and you're doing all these different things and these experiences are happening to you, you're thinking, I must be the only one experiencing that, and it's hard. But I think now, especially, it's hard for young people as well to get on the ladder and to get experience and to get a job, and to feel fulfilled as well. It's really hard for a lot of young people. So hopefully, like, if somebody hears, he went through that, he did this series of things to get where he is today, and I'm halfway through that, I just keep pushing through, and then you'll get there. Eventually you'll get there.
Yeah. Well, that's it in a nutshell. Yeah. So you talking about your career is just going to match that up. So this is exciting. So we start off as always with your career, and then we evolve into maybe where industry is today and where you see the future going. So let's start off where we always go. And what sparked your interest in engineering?
Yeah, I think there's probably two bits to this. So initially, when I was little, my grandfather had a workshop at his house, and I say workshop, it was like a wee garage, but like he had a lathe in it and stuff like that, and he would make things, and he'd make slingshots and stuff like that, and it was like, and he would like fix, like, he used to do a lot of golfing, so he would make his own golf clubs, and he would like work on them and to make sure that he's able to get his perfect putt or whatever, so there was all those kind of wee things, and I'd be watching that and thinking, that's super cool, like just the ability to do that. And then when we can discuss it later, but I mean, my journey at school was probably not perfect at all. Like, really, I struggled quite a bit at school because I have dyslexia. So like I was diagnosed quite early, but my school wasn't able to really support me a lot of the time because of other needs for other people in the school. So that was, that's what it is. But I think I went through school just kind of drifting a bit, not really achieving anything. But I think what inspired me to sort of continue to pursue engineering was my final year at school, where I signed up to do an after-school program where we had to design a bridge over the Kelvin Park, and I spent loads of time on that, and like really devoted myself to it, and that was probably the one thing at school that I kind of like really enjoyed was technical studies and design and like 3D design. So we did 3D design and that was the first sort of experience I had with like 3D drawings and stuff like that and designing things. And although I was by the school I was told to leave basically, but through doing that, I was given an award at the end of the year, but I'd already left school at that point. So I never collected the award, and I was given like money as well for it. Like I was given a check because it obviously the award came with like it was sponsored by a company, but I can't remember the name of the company. It was just a local bridge design company, and my friend she brought it round to my house for me, and she'd obviously went up and collected it in front of the whole school, and she gave it to me in the check. And I sort of like, I sat there and I went, I obviously did something at school. Like I felt like I went through school doing nothing and didn't achieve anything. But I had this, I've still got it obviously. It's like this brick in the shape of a diamond basically. Like and I got the money, it was like 120 quid, and I was like, I designed that bridge. I presented it, and the teacher that was obviously doing it, the technical studies teacher, obviously saw me in there at like 5 or 6 o'clock at night before my mum came and picked me up in the school, still there when everybody's gone, up at the back, just doing a bit of woodwork, designing this bridge. And he obviously must have thought, that's the dedication that you want to see in somebody to sort of achieve something. And I didn't do that with. I wasn't able to do that with anything else because I obviously felt like I was, because I struggled because of my dyslexia and the lack of support. But I was able to achieve that because it was hands-on. It was something I was really interested in. So, like, that for me was kind of a catalyst to go towards the NC and mechanical engineering, because I came out of school, I had basic sort of qualifications and stuff like that. So, like, I didn't have the opportunity to go straight into like a HNC or a HND, so I went to the NC sort of path, and in hindsight, it's the reason I'm where I am today, because otherwise I would have been, I was part time when I originally started studying mechanical engineering. I was studying. I was working in restaurants as well as to make money to sort of make sure that I can continue to support myself while I'm at college and stuff. And yeah, like that followed on that path.
I mean, that story's amazing. I mean, well, first and foremost, it's shocking in one sense, because it shouldn't be the case where that support isn't there. But on the other side, it just shows where one person, identifies something with you or an opportunity that you're capable, or someone believes you're capable, which we all are, then just gave you the confidence to believe in yourself a bit, and then it opened up the door. So was that in 4th year, 5th year, 6th year?
So that would have been 5th year, because it was the final year. I didn't go back. So like I was 16, because I was probably the youngest in my year, one of the youngest in the year, because of when my birthday was. 16 is nothing when you think about the age we are now. I probably left. I was just turning maybe I just turned 17 in the February and left in the sort of April time. Yeah, that's what I remember going. 16 is not old now. When we think about our age, and with at the time you think 16 and I'm kind of like about to take on the world. It's. But I think I was really. I knew that I had to leave, and I was being asked to leave the school, kind of like, because they were obviously results driven, and they were like, if you're not doing hires like this year, because it was intermediates at the time.
That's right, yeah.
And I remember doing like everything I was doing was pretty much intermediates, and I'd done the standard grades the year before or whatever, and that wasn't enough. And they were like, and I remember my guidance teacher coming in with the college forms and just saying we were getting changed after gym, and he was like, "You're going to college," and that was it. There wasn't like, it wasn't really up for discussion or whatever, and my attendance at school was great. It wasn't like I was in 50% of the time. My attendance at school was almost 100, if not 99. That kind of thing. So it was just, for me, it was when I think back, it's results driven. I wasn't getting the results the school wanted to see, and like, without saying it, they pushed me out, sort of thing, in that way. So,
well, it seems to me like, as we go into it, that the failure of your school was probably the catalyst behind you to then to find your way, but it shouldn't have been that way, let's be honest. So that's your way into your NC. You and I spoke about this beforehand, and anyone that's listened to the podcast before knows how much I love the route of NC and building. As someone who went straight to university, they both have benefits. And I would say that your incremental build into your career in engineering is something that people need to hear about, because a lot of people say to me, Josh, I'd like to be an engineer, or my son or daughter wants to be an engineer. Where do they start? And it's like, well, there's loads of routes, so don't worry about that. It's where they are, who they are, and what they want to do. So talk me through, how did NC go then? So you joined the North Glasgow College, and talk me through how was the NC?
The NC was,
and how was the support, more importantly? Because
the support when I went to college was great. The lecturers were great. They showed you, they took the time to teach you. I think. The NC, North Glasgow College was at a bit of a transition at that point where they were moving into their new building. I don't know if you've seen their new building, it's amazing. But it was certainly amazing to be going into this new building, but we were still in the old building, so there were still the classrooms and stuff like that. They were struggling with them and stuff like that, because we're knocking these down, so we're not. But anyway, the teachers were very supportive. It was refreshing, to be honest, to be able to take on that support and build up that experience and sort of learn new things that were really interesting. Especially, I loved going into the workshop area, working on the lathes and stuff like that, working on the sort of doing a bit of welding, all getting that taste. That's what's really good about the sort of NC sort of route, is you're getting the initial a bit of experience, and not having to sort of commit to something. You can come away from an NC and say, I that's not for me, I've completed it, but I would like to do something else. It's not like a university course where you're committed to the next 3 years.
Exactly.
There's a bit of pressure on you there, sort of thing. So I really enjoyed my time at North Glasgow, and then I went into to do the HNC. Following that at
Nautical College,
Glasgow Nautical College, which was next level for me. It sort of the NC had been really inspiring and helped me to sort of see where I want to kind of go and sort of continue to pursue that kind of career. And see where we could go with it, So then when I went in to do the HNC, I was immersed in all these sort of young guys and women, and they were all dressed in white shirts with epaulets, and they were all going to sea, and they were doing all these different things, because it was obviously a nautical college, so they were doing all that training.
Yeah.
So I could see the naval architecture area. I could see, it was inspiring, and I was doing mechanical engineering at the time, and a lot of the lecturers rather, were teaching the nautical studies at the same time. So I was becoming immersed in that environment as well, that marine environment, marine engineering environment, and that I was like, I'd love to do that. I'd love to get to a point where I can, be in their shoes. And sort of keep moving, and I was like, but I have to just keep going with where I am, try and build up a bit of experience, and then I'll try and apply for these things. So I got onto the HNC, started the HNC, it was great, got to the end of that, and then that was, again, similar things where you're, working in workshops and stuff like that, and you're building up that sort of hands-on experience, but also becoming more looking at statics and strengths and hydraulics, and you're getting into all these different areas, and you're building up that experience, and that's great.
Absolutely.
But again, it's letting you see that is this the right thing for you, or do you want to move into electrical engineering? That you have that opportunity, in a way. So for me, I was still looking at these guys from the nautical side of it, thinking I would love to be doing that. And it got to a stage where I obviously finished HNC, started the HND, got to, I'm going quite fast here, so stop me if you're...
No, this is good.
But
For someone that left school incapable in the eyes of their school,
Yeah.
you've went NC, HNC, and into HND within
3
years.
years.
Yeah.
Well, 3 years. 'Cause
So
it's a year
this is
curriculum.
powerful stuff. Keep going, please.
So like you're going into HND. And you're going through that. It's the same lecturers at the Nautical College, because I'd remained at the Nautical College to do the HND. So you've built up a good relationship. Again, you're seeing these guys. I keep going back to these guys that are doing all these. And I started to talk to the guys and find out what's going. Some of them are working for Disney Cruises. Some of them are working for British Petroleum. Some of them are working for Zodiac Maritime. Some of them are, like all these different companies. And they're travelling all over the place. Some of them are just like in the North Sea, just bopping up and down on little, like little vessels that are like supporting the oil rigs and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is so cool.
Nice.
Right. So like it got to the stage where we had to do like a dissertation sort of thing for the HND, where you do a 14,000 word report basically. And what our lecturer actually gave us was, he asked us to do it on basically like a main engine overhaul of a cruise ship or something like that. So that's what I sort of picked. And obviously I'd never worked on any ships, but I had to go and get that experience, and they were really, and the lecturers and stuff were really supportive, because I was like, if I can do this, then I can do what those guys are doing downstairs, and I could go to sea and I could achieve that. And then so completed the dissertation or whatever, got results for that. But at the same time, I was interviewing for Clyde Training Solution, Clyde Marine Training.
Yep.
And they teach loads of cadets.
Yep.
And they give them like a really good opportunity to sort of progress their career in nautical studies. And they gave me a chance in a way, because I went into the interview, I did well, I did well enough for them to offer me a place. But like the relief when I got a letter for the door saying I had got a place on that, and it was an NC again, but I didn't care. Yep. I was like, I can do that. It's fine. I'll go and do the NC, and I'll do the HNC, because it's like a similar sort of path. You do an NC, HNC, and I'll go and achieve that. But part of me was like, there's a lot of people that didn't think I would ever get near that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And
I would just coast life, but I felt like I had achieved something, especially like seeing where I'd started going to North Glasgow College, and like thinking to myself, doing this NC, am I doing the right thing here? Like, is this where I want to be? Do I want to keep progressing, or do I want to, just sort of, having a bit of drive and sort of pushing through a barrier, like, because sometimes you can doubt yourself.
Yeah.
But try to see that as that's you being challenged in a way.
Exactly. It sounds to me like very early on, despite having that tough moment of kind of almost being pushed out of school, you were very conscious about mapping out where you were going to go. You didn't necessarily know where you were going to go, but like you said, seeing people in the class, seeing what they were doing, the old phrase, you can't be what you can't see. But you were conscious about, like, how do I get there? What can I do? I want to go and follow that. I'm interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, like, I applied for lots of apprenticeships. I applied for loads of stuff, like Ryanair apprenticeships, like lots of stuff, especially when I was studying, like initially studying like HNC mechanic.
Yeah.
I was looking for everything, and it was like a constant rejection, like, like without even talking to you or having a conversation or understanding what kind of person you are, that you are dedicated and you want to work.
Yeah.
So that was quite hard. I think that's why when I got to the Nautical College, and I really sort of said, that's what I want to aim for. Sort of, it's almost like you manifest it, and you say, that's what I'm going to go for, and I'm going to achieve it no matter what. And I did achieve it. I got the job. I got the cadetship. I achieved the cadetship. I completed it, and I progressed in my career. And that's and again, you have to push through those barriers.
Of course you do. It's the.
And
once you get a wee bit of momentum, it's amazing. It's amazing.
And there'll always be those people that will say, "You're not going to do that," or you're not very good at that, or because nobody's perfect at everything, and you need support, and you will need help, and you will, like, I can remember like statics and strengths, like the HNC sort of HND stuff. Just like I remember like having to do the exam like maybe 3 or 4 times just to get, but I was able to pass pretty much everything else, no problem. This one was just like, and it is what it is. You just need to push through.
So let's move on to your first role then. So you completed your HND in mechanical engineering, and then you were accepted onto your NC in naval architecture, or did you get the job at Zodiac Maritime first?
So
how does that work? I guess because it's important for people to see.
Yeah, so you're doing the HND, but at the same time you're like, where am I going to go next here? Because like I'm about to be told that I have to leave this college because I've been here for a couple of years now. And I can't stay anymore. Like there's no more courses to go. I need to go to university or something. And I was like, but I don't really want to go to university. I want to go into this. I want to go to sea. I want to get into that. So obviously applied for Clyde Marine training and interviewed multiple interviews. Was offered the NC is shipping and maritime, I think maritime and shipping NC, and then you go on to study marine engineering the following year. But so at that point you get accepted onto that, and then you get given a list of companies that you might want to apply for. So you put down multiple companies. So I put down Disney, Zodiac, and I think I put down like Viking Cruises or something, because I was a bit like put down like a few different companies. Ended up getting Zodiac Maritime, who are obviously a massive. They operate vessels on behalf of vessel owners basically. So like they're almost like they manage it. They put staff it, and then they make sure that they deliver the goods that are on the vessel to the various areas around the world. So I was offered that position, and I was offered Zodiac, and that was great. And I was like, at the time I remember actually going for an interview, and they were saying to me like, you're going to be doing an RNC, is that okay? And I was like, I just want this opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like I can't get anything else, but I really want this. So this is, like I said, manifested in a way. So that's what I'm going for. And that took up the next almost 4 years, completing the NC, going away to sea for up to 6 months. First time I went away to sea after being in college, where I think did like 6 or 7 months at college, and you went away to sea for 6 months, and that was 6 months straight. And I travelled down the train to Southampton. I was only a young guy, like quite kind of scared in a way.
But what age were you then? What age was that? Was that 2011, 2012? Was this?
2011. So I was 19.
19.
Yeah, 19. Sort of first time away properly from home, and sort of really nervous. But in the same way, we got down to Southampton, joined this cruise ship. It looked like an aircraft carrier. It was massive, just full of containers. You went on it and it was tiny inside, like because the bulk of it is just taken up by goods basically. So like and we didn't know didn't know anything about where I was going, how I was going to get there, like other than I was going to be on this container ship for as many months. It could be 1 month. It was more likely to be like minimum 3 months. So I knew that, but then it obviously transpired it was 6 months, and that was quite a long stint for being a cadet, being away for the first time. So that in itself was an amazing experience. Like we literally left Southampton and we went towards the Mediterranean, went through the Suez Canal, which was, again, I was like, where am I? So stopped off in like Morocco, went through the Suez Canal. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, like when we went to Egypt, like you had people on the board selling things just outside the chief officer's like office. Like get guys like selling you like all sorts of stuff like from the pyramids and all that.
Really?
Like they'd obviously got on board and were selling goods, and then they were taken off. And then as we got through the Suez Canal, you get to the other end, and it becomes piracy territory. So you've got security on board, they've got guns, watchkeeping starts, like everybody has to do watchkeeping, we're boarding up all the windows, no lights after dark, barbed wire around the container vessel, hoses on at the ready in case somebody tries to board, do you know, all that kind of stuff. And we did experience people trying to get on board, but that was during the night. And when you're doing your watchkeeping, you can see these tiny little boats just bopping around in the water, and they're fishing. The majority are going to be fishing and stuff like that. But you also have guys that are, you know, actively looking to try and get on board. So that was just like a surreal experience. And all while this is happening, I'm in the engine room doing, like, you know, working with the chief engineer, first engineer, you know, seconds, and the motorman and stuff like that on the board of the vessel, carrying out engineering stuff, getting your majority of your work would be getting ready, prepping for when you get into port. If we're going to be there for 1 or 2 days, you're doing an overhaul of main engine overhaul, you know, like could be anything really. Yeah. But you would know kind of ahead of time, like, we're going into port for 3 days, so we're going to do this. This is the work we're going to be doing, and then the rest of the time it's just watchkeeping and maintaining the vessel, making sure it's ready for, it's safe, and we're getting from A to B. That's the engine room's job at the end of the day, as well as the deck crew navigating the vessel, you know. So, getting into like Sri Lanka and Singapore and going around China, stopping in various ports in China, and then like going over past Alaska to Vancouver and Seattle and a small place called Tacoma.
Did you go up at Vancouver? Vancouver's brilliant.
Yeah,
Vancouver's
out there. It's a lovely place. It's a lovely place.
So did you? So when you were stopping off at these places, would you get off for a day or so?
Like, I mean, certainly got to explore Vancouver. Like, not every place you would get to do that, but I think they recognise, like the chief engineer certainly recognised, because he took us out one night and was like, we're going to go with the captain, we're going to go to a pub sort of thing, and we'll go and have a laugh or whatever, you know, because they can see you're working hard. And it's also, it's, by the time we got to like Vancouver, that had been maybe 2.5 months. Wow. I'd been on board. So
you hadn't been off by that stage, or is it?
No, I'd been off at different ports, but like I hadn't been off for, you know, that's 2.5 months from home. Very limited.
At 19 as well. I mean,
sending emails. That's how I communicated
with
home. Do you know? So like it was, you know, surreal, to be honest. And you know, at times it was really hard. You have to get yourself into a rhythm of like, because you're watchkeeping, so you're doing like 4 on, 6 off, or 4 on, 8 off, or whatever. So you're once you're coming off your shift, you're going to the gym, you're going to get something to eat, then you're going watch a film, then go to bed, and you're doing that every single day for 6 months, you know, to get yourself into that routine, to make sure that you're not like losing the will to live in a way, you know. Although I really enjoyed the job, it's very repetitive and
quite labour intensive,
and it's very labour intensive, especially when you're going through the med, and the heat in the engine room was crazy. We were talking 45 degrees, 50, like going up to 50. You could only spend 20 minutes at a time in the engine room, and well, not in the engine room, out in sort of like in the main section of the engine room, and you would have to come in where the air conditioning's on, take a salt tablet, and then you would go back to work, that kind of thing. So it was like pretty labour intensive at times. And yeah, so like that was like, and then obviously we came back over past Alaska, and then like that 6 months like spell went really quickly. And I got off in Hong Kong, and you know, like I was like, this is amazing. Like I got home, and like I felt like my world, my horizons had been broadened. I didn't want to, like, I went back to where I'd grown up, and I was like, I don't want to be like, obviously I want all my family and stuff like that, but I don't want to be here all the time. I want to be doing things. I want to go and see more things. So, but obviously still at college, still had the NC completed, had to go and do the HNC part of it, you know. So back to college, back to learning about, you know, engineering, back to doing workshop stuff like, you know, welding, using CNC machining, lathes, all that kind of stuff, you know, to build up those skills, to make sure that, you know, when you go back to sea, you can start to use things, learning about watchkeeping, naval architecture, all that kind of stuff. You know, the things that I'd been thinking about for the last 2 years.
Yep.
Seeing these people doing that, I was back at college with the shirt on, the epaulets.
Brilliant.
Thinking, this is great.
This is
Do you
it.
know, this is kind of like what I wanted to do. This is no, it isn't kind of what I want. It is what I wanted to do. You know, like so, I couldn't believe it. It was very surreal, and yeah, I loved my time at college, and then went back for my final sort of phase at sea as a cadet, and got the opportunity to go sort of over the other direction through past the Pacific and stuff like that, and over to like Florida. We went through the Panama Canal this time. Going over the Panama Canal was just amazing. Stopping in Colombia, Peru, Chile, going through the Magellan Strait.
Wow.
Which is like, it's surreal. It's like just like snow covered mountains the whole way through Magellan Strait to Argentina, up like an estuary or whatever it is, a part of the Amazon forest or whatever it is, like that's down that neck of the woods.
See, when you're telling me all this, all I can think of is the importance of seeing what you can do in your career, or being exposed. Like we talk, I know I've said it already, but when the more, I'm really big on young people, in particular aspiring engineers, to have as much exposure to the different people being engineers and in the world of engineering, whether that's in maritime, whether that's in the automotive industry, whether it's in product design, any sector within engineering, because when you see what's out there, you can then go, it's for me or it's not for me. And it, you've said a few times about thinking back into that college class, and you're like, that's what I want to do. You're hearing the stories. This is why I do the podcast. And hopefully someone listens to that. It's so powerful, and for someone that left school deemed not capable, or within 4 years to be engineering the world, that's what I would say. It's amazing.
And building up these skills, electrical skills, mechanical skills, marine skills. The thing about marine engineering is it's very diverse, in that you have to do electrical, mechanical, you have to do it like everything. Do you know, you have to be able to do everything.
Sometimes people look at marine engineering, I think, and they think mechanical, electrical and marine engineering. No, it's not. It's marine engineering, and then underneath marine engineering you then have your naval you have your naval architecture, which then also has mechanical, electrical under it as well, and
the main engine.
Chemical as well.
The main engine of a container ship is absolutely humongous, and the pistons that are in a container ship are like the size of a house, and you have to clean them, overhaul the whole engine, like it, and then you've got the generators. The generators are the size of half the size of a house. It's like they're huge. You've got 4 of them to look after, all that kind of stuff. You've got to constantly be doing maintenance on them. Like, so you've got 3 running at a time, 1 out of service, and then constantly like intertwining, going in between them, overhauling them, that kind of thing. And so it's a crazy amount of work, and you learn so much in a very fast sort of like amount of time. And that's what you have to, because once you come off that vessel, you're going into an environment where you're learning again about like you're in that class environment, so you're in a different sort of setting. And I really thrive. I put this down to like my dyslexia as well, that I thrive in an environment where I'm using my hands and I'm like literally fixing something with my hands or making something with my hands. So that was always the best environment for me. So and then the bonus part of it was traveling and getting that experience, seeing those different parts of the world, and like it wasn't like sunshine and rainbows all the time, because there was times where it was hard and I was like, I miss home, and like this is difficult for me, but like like I said, you get yourself in a routine, you push through it, and you become mentally stronger from it. And you, at the same time, you gain a lot of experience, and you progress as a person, and I felt like I grew up quite a lot when I went and did that. Like, I feel like, when I left, when I was maybe like 18 going on 19 for my first phase at sea, I was still very young and kind of immature in a way. But then you come back and you're like, I feel like I need to continue to broaden my horizons and, progress my career further.
Brilliant. So once you're at Zodiac for a bit, and then you went on to Expedite, you moved to Bath. Talk me through that move.
Yeah, I had completed my cadetship, and I was like, well, I'll go back to sea. I didn't really want to go back to sea. I think I'd experienced that, and pardon me, sorry. And I think I wanted to continue to have that. I was seeing a lot of guys that I'd worked with previously, and the only route that they could take was to go back to sea. And I was like, before that sort of happens to me and I can only be at sea, I want to I want to try and reskill and go in and take the skills that I've got from being at sea and go and work on shore. And that's kind of where I was able to do that with Expedite, as they were Ministry of Defence contractor, or contracted by the Ministry of Defence to work on these sort of like various contracts, whether it was ship design or they worked a lot with like reliability centre maintenance stuff, so building maintenance packages and stuff like that for whether it was submarines or ship design stuff for the Queen Elizabeth class, the Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier and stuff like that.
You seen that?
I've been on it.
Yeah,
I've been on them.
They're unbelievable.
Like, it's just surreal as well.
I remember seeing it at Faz. Was it
Safe?
No, the refueling depot behind Faz Lane.
Oh, right,
I remember one night after finishing work,
was there.
someone said, "Oh, Queen Elizabeth's along." I was like, "I'm going along," and I got to drive along right next to it. I was like, "That was unbelievable."
I went on it when I was at Rosyth.
Love to have gone on it,
and it was like, we went up to the control deck, and there was nothing there. The computers and all that. It was just like empty. It was a shell. Still,
they're monsters.
Yeah.
So after that, then you've moved into like a technical service engineer role.
Yeah.
And then you've kind of like moved from there into maintenance lead, and then you went to Babcock International, and now you're SSE.
Yeah.
So talk me through your kind of like steps into those roles. In particular, I'm really interested in your SSE Renewables role because, and I think this is important because you started within the maritime, which. You mentioned pistons there, and I was thinking in my head because my dad's big on he loves the Waverley, and he sent me a video last year when he was on it, and there's a kind of like viewing spots from looking at the engine, and it is phenomenal the size of the pistons, and you think about steamliner, you think about kind of old technology, and then you think about new technology, and the evolution of batteries, etc. And obviously you now work on wind turbines, and how do you how's your skill sets kind of evolved into now being at SSE Renewables?
I think because you have that mechanical and even marine engineering background and working with generators, diesel engines, you have this broad range of experience. I went into working at SSE probably actually with not a lot of knowledge about wind turbines because I never worked on a wind turbine, but I knew the engineering behind them and I knew how they worked. I knew how they were constructed. So I had a general understanding, and I just transferred everything I knew and pushed myself to a point where I was going to make sure that I understood how these worked so that I could be the best at my role, and that's basically what I did. Read a lot of documentation, to ensure that I had that knowledge. So when we had the conversations about these turbines, I could understand it and I could ask. I could carry out my role basically.
Exactly.
But I think a lot of people would probably look at it and see that's strange how you were able to do that. But I don't actually think it's that strange. I think you should be able to transfer your skills easily enough. It's like if you're an electrician working on a vessel, it's the same. You would be able to come and look at a wind turbine or even solar panels or batteries, because I'm involved in solar and battery projects as well at SSE. So you're actively being being able to transfer all these skills and the understanding of how they work and stuff like that. Like,
it's you know, it's really interesting, and we hadn't planned this beforehand, but it's becoming really apparent to me with knowing your career and what we're just talking about. There's obviously a lot of discussion at the moment in terms of the transition of the transition of people from the traditional energy industry, so oil and gas, for example, and that evolving into the kind of green landscape.
Yeah.
And what you've spoken about there almost ties in perfectly into it, because you've done it, and you've not done any upskilling. You've probably done it yourself. You've done a bit of your own on the job learning as well.
I mean, like,
but you're saying that it's like the kind of fundamentals. Are the underlying fundamentals of engineering you're utilising.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, so when you're coming in, you have a basic understanding of health and safety legislation. You know, it's like, so that you can apply that to whether it's like when you're doing you're commenting on the electrical balance of plant contracts that are being looked at for the new turbines that are coming on board, or the substations that are being constructed, or the type of transformer they're looking to purchase. You can understand that because you've worked on generators, you've worked on transformers before, you know, so you have that understanding of these pieces of equipment. You know how you would go and fix, you would do an oil change, or you would change it, you know, like, it's the same sort of stuff. For me, for wind turbines, like, in a way, it was more simple, the design of a wind turbine, compared to like a submarine, or the main engine of a container ship, which is like massive, and like there's various bits to it that you have to know about and have to be able to overhaul and be able to sort of like just like carry out that level of maintenance and stuff on it, you know. So it's
interesting when you think of it this way. I think people inside engineering probably see it. I don't know if people outside it do it, because I'm thinking back to my own career, and I just clearly remember in an interview, and it was for Faslane, and I remember it, and the person that interviewed me, my question to them was at the end of it, and I felt it went really well, and they said, "Do you have any questions?" And I had a few lined up, as I always do, and it was, "I've never worked on submarines before. Is this gonna go against me?" And they said, "Well, anyone that's coming for this job tends to not have been working for a submarine, so we're not expecting that. But you're an engineer, and the systems on board are mechanical, electrical, you know, air systems, etc. And they're engineering principles which you've shown, and you will spend the next X amount of time adapting to them and then working on them." And to me, it stuck with me, because it empowered me, because I was like, I'm capable, clearly. Someone believes in me, but we don't talk about it that way, you know. But you're evidence of it. It's worked, you know.
But I mean, I think I even today, I think I said to you, the imposter syndrome with me, with myself, is very real, and it's taken me a long time to think to get to a point where I can see myself actually as somebody who is an engineer and has actively been heavily involved in various engineering projects, you know. So that has been a bit of a struggle for me at times, you know, like especially earlier in my career, after coming out of the Merchant Navy. Like, did I actually learn enough there?
You're joking.
Did I learn enough to know what I'm doing here? Am I, you know, like, have I made the right decisions? All that kind of stuff, you know, like. That's because we're probably a nightmare at defining what an engineer is, because like you're an engineer, like, you know. But an engineer is anybody who, you know, like you can be working on wood, you can be like. I think a lot of people think an engineer is somebody that designs, you know. I feel like there's almost like an element of snobbery towards, like,
people like, let's cut the nonsense. People think people who are engineers have got degrees, right? And that's not the case. That is not the case. Okay, some of the best engineers I've worked with have not got degrees, and you know, my dad is like my idol, and he is, doesn't have a degree, he's probably the best engineer. No, my brother doesn't. You don't. We could sit here. I could do probably an episode on the people who I think are engineers.
Many times, should I just go to university and do a degree and then prove a point? No, and like
it opens doors, right? The same way that your NC opened a door, right? So, but that and the same way your HNC opens a door and HND experience, exposure, and this is why we need to give people who are picking engineering, whether it's college, university, or want to do it, experience, because you said yourself, exposure and experience then it then builds.
You can't buy that.
No, you can't. No,
like you can buy a uni degree, but you can't buy being able to go on a container vessel and overhaul it, and all that kind of good stuff.
So talk me through a project that you've worked on across your career, which stands out, and of any particular reason.
I think there's been projects throughout the years. I think we touched on a couple there, like the earlier ones when I was really still cutting my teeth in engineering and like overhauling, like doing a 12-hour overhaul of a main engine piston, and just like it's like a team of like 10 people, and you're just constantly working for 12 hours, like taking minimal breaks just to get this work done so we can leave port and like the next sort of day. And then obviously like so that it, like from an experience, and sort of like I don't think I'll ever forget about that. The first time I did that kind of level of work, and the way I felt so tired and drained after it, and just like but like so fulfilled in a way. And then like working, like it was really good to work on like the Queen Elizabeth class aircraft carrier and get that experience, and then most recently, obviously, Viking Wind Farm, which is like a flagship project for SSE, and helping to helping to support the business and deliver that for operations. Like I mean, I'm a small part in that, but I worked on that project for over 2 years. Like nearly 3, and what an opportunity, like to go up to Shetland. I was up there a lot, to be honest. It's a beautiful place when the weather's nice, I'll say that. Like and I think I loved that project, and delivering for the island of Shetland, but also delivering the sort of net zero goals, let's say, like in terms of like the objective for the business as well, to deliver a certain amount of like gigawatts, like over a sort of period of time for 2030 or whatever. So that was amazing. And then like even more recently is working on European projects, Southern European projects in Spain, and just seeing how things are gaining that lots of experience, and seeing how things are expanding as well throughout the business. And it's just I really love my current role, and it's getting that experience every single day. There's something new in my current role, and you're involved in everything from the turbine selection phase, the balance of plant for electrical phase, balance of plant supplier for civils phase, for the construction phase, so you're involved in the development stuff, and then you're also involved in the construction element. That's the bit we concentrate on, where I work in. So making sure that contractors are delivering to the spec that's been agreed contractually, so that you can get the project up to a really high standard and then deliver that at the end. So that when it's operated on, it's there's no issues.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's again making money for the business, but also it's you can be proud that you've been involved in that in a way. So it's great.
Fantastic. And along the way, has there been any like mentors or role models that have either inspired you, helped you out along your career?
I think probably college initially, because I think when I was really young and I started college after leaving school, I think they can see that you probably need a bit of more of an encouragement to sort of, and you don't know if this is what you want to do. So I think a lot of the lecturers at North Glasgow College were kind of, you know, they were really encouraging, and again, I think they could see the dedication that you were putting in. So we designed again on CAD, like it was just an adjustable wrench or whatever, like adjustable. Yeah, so we designed that in the lathe and made it, and then the college asked me if they could present it in the box and like outside the mechanical engineering room. Like, can we keep this? And then I was nominated for a City and Guilds sort of
Brilliant.
like award for it. Like, and I was like, it's another point where you're kind of like, it's just another thing that you've done well, or like it's another thing where you've doubted yourself for such a long time, and you're like, I'm doing something here, so I must be all right,
I think you are.
But you still find yourself sort of like doubting yourself in a way, but that's human nature, I guess. And then probably most recently, certainly like as I've been at SSE, like I would say my current line manager Roy and his boss Leo, they've been really encouraging, especially when it came to Viking Wind Farm and backing me with a lot of things in terms of decisions and stuff like that, and helping me to make sure that we're delivering for operations, and because like it can be very contentious, some of the things that you have to decide and push for and make sure that that the project is successfully delivered, and making sure everything's working for operations, because projects just want the project to get handed over sometimes. So, and that's fair enough, that's because they want to be able to get on to their next project. But I think we are in integration, we're kind of like, we want to get the project to like, so that it's like sparkly brand new, no issues, day one it should be operating, that it's almost like, we call it like turnkey. So like the project's ready, put the key in the door, and then that's it runs beautifully, so like feel like Donald Trump there saying beautifully.
Lots of first time Donald Trump's on the podcast. Lots of pressure on you then, if it's that phase, but also I'm guessing very rewarding as well.
And then that reward, if you're like, I'm very like, I want to, I'm a people pleaser, I'd say. So I want to be able to help everybody. I want to make sure that everybody's happy and everybody gets the solution that they want, but that's impossible. Yeah. But I will always drive to make sure that I'm delivering the best. Yeah. And that probably frustrates people at times, that I could see that with people I work with, like thinking, yeah, why is he like that? Why is it that this needs to be perfect, or it needs to be a certain way? But that's just, I want it to be that way, because that's for, as far as I can see, that's the best way to do it. Yeah. And it delivers the best for
your standards, isn't
the
it?
operations team, and it also delivers the best for the business at the end of the day, which is really important.
Nice.
So, because you're paid to do a job at the end of the day,
exactly.
So it's vitally important.
Good man. So is there anything kind of in the engineering industry or engineering that excites you? It doesn't have to be in your area. Yeah. But what excites you at the moment?
To be honest, it is the area I work in. Like, I'm really passionate about renewables. I really want to see them continue to thrive. I think like SSE are doing great work with that. So I think if we can, we can keep pushing on. We've got there's a massive portfolio of projects to build in Southern Europe and UK and Ireland. So wherever I end up working, I'll love it anyway. And some of those projects are massive. Some of them are smaller, but it doesn't matter. The first project I worked on when I was at SSE was only 7 turbines, and that was great experience. And then the next project I worked on was 103 turbines. So night and day. And then the current project I'm working on the south of Spain, that's that's like 11 or 14 turbines. So so it's mixed bag. I've been working on battery projects, and there's a full pipeline of like battery, solar, so like I say, like it's whatever I go on to, I'm loving the renewables industry at the moment. I think as much as there's a bit of negativity from the political side of it at the moment, I think we need to keep pushing on because it's important.
Yeah,
it's really important.
It's always good to hear someone that is working somewhere with purpose, and it aligns with their purpose. It's a big theme at the moment. I speak to a lot of students.
Yeah.
Sustainability, but even away from the energy transition, finding a role which matches your aligns with your purpose, is only a good thing.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Because it means that you can throw everything behind it.
Yeah, and you can be more passionate about it. Yeah,
and
totally. Yeah.
that's why in engineering career we always talk about skills, interest, and passion. And passion is the fundamental one. If you can find that, then you can then find the role you're looking for, and then you're, like you said, you think about your whole career. You came out of school, unfortunate situation. Someone gave you the confidence to go into college, into engineering, and then you've always found bits that interest you and followed it, and then you've then pivoted to the next part. Yeah. But as an individual, you've always followed something that's passionate, your passion and your interest, and I think that's really important. And I always try to say this to aspiring engineers and developing engineers, because it will be the fuel that keeps you going when the inevitable challenge comes along.
Yeah, and there'll be a young person that will go for an interview, and he'll be really passionate about it, about like renewables, and you'll be able to see that in the interview. He's passionate about this. He wants to do this. Yeah. So he gets the job. Yeah. And if you turn up for a job and you're not passionate about it, that's harder for that person to say, should I give them the job? Like, I've got a really passionate person here. I've got a person that's not really, like, when you look at qualifications, that could be the thing that twist your arm in a way. Exactly. To pick that person, they're more passionate about the role. They'll come in, give it the 110%, and but I think it's really important to be passionate about what you're going to be doing, because I could be doing this role for the next 30 years. Exactly. And you want to remain passionate about it. New projects and new skills being learned, and so that, to me, that's important as well, that I gain new skills and I continue to learn. Exactly. Instead of just being in this mundane role, that kind of thing. I would always try and avoid that. Yeah. So do you have any professional goals or goals for the future? Yeah. Doesn't that can be short, medium, or long term? Yeah, I think like certainly short term, I just want to keep delivering projects as much as I can, and gaining experience. But I think longer term, I would like to get into that sort of more senior sort of managerial position where I'm looking after multiple people that are leading projects. Yep. I would really like that to sort of transfer into a sort of role like that. But I guess you never know what's coming your way. So like, you could go into a role like that, or you could continue to just sort of stay where I am. Like I said, I love my job at the moment. I enjoy it. It's fulfilling. So you never know, mate. Brilliant. No, good. So it sounds like you're in the right place for whatever comes next. Yeah. And if it is a growth in renewables, which we both align in that hope, then you're a busy boy. Yeah. So listen, Neill, this has been great. It's been brilliant chatting. I know a lot more about you than I did when we worked together. Yeah. But to hear your career, it's truly inspiring, and I'm so excited to share this with people, and I'm so happy you came on the podcast, so thank you so much. No, thanks for having me, Josh. It's been a pleasure. No problem at all. And so we spoke about passion there, and maybe the different sectors, but what keeps you passionate about engineering? I think there's probably a couple of things. So the advancements in engineering that we're seeing constantly. So we're constantly seeing. So I was talking about it the other day, how we're getting new types of batteries coming out constantly for our sites. So there's new technology coming out and delivering the sort of net zero sort of target. So, and obviously helping to look at my children, they're really young, and making sure that I'm delivering these projects in the hope that one day it'll positively impact them, whether it's environmentally or, you know, like in their life somehow, you know, and that kind of drive is what kind of keeps me sort of centered in a way. So yeah, that's what kind of keeps me passionate at the moment. I mean, things could always change, I guess, but like I think when you have children, it does change your perspective on things in a way rather. I think it has changed my perspective in that I want a better world for them. So I want to try and, because at the end of the day, you're just one person, and you're just us. You're right down at the bottom of that pile, you know. So like, if you can actively try and impact something somehow, then I think that's you've achieved something anyway.
Change always comes when individuals act and then collectively come together through that, you know, that joint task. Yeah. So you have to start with yourself. So listen, thanks so much. This is great. All the best with the future, and we'll be keeping in touch. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks. Cheers, George.
Thanks.